Hey friends, I'm Rick Miller, and this is
Xing the Gap,
an intergenerational interview series where I'm the Gen X host trying to bridge gaps of understanding with two guests, one older, one younger. Today, I'm speaking with Mary Furlong and Zoe Byington. Mary's an entrepreneur, educator, author, and leading authority in the longevity marketplace. For 30 years, she's guided major corporations, startups, and not-for-profits as they navigate trends in aging and technology. Zoe's the Technology and Digital Equity Project Coordinator at AARP. She's also a social gerontologist working closely with Mary to enhance the lives of our aging society. Together, we tackle bi-coastal living, intergenerational living, ageism going both ways, the business opportunities of baby boomers, including young voices in investing, money as a gift, technology as a tool, entrepreneurs and innovation, the importance of stories, evolving ecosystems, the 5 L's of leadership, and a game show.
Interesting artist, fascinating from a tech point of view and pop culture point of view. Any idea, Mary? He did an Uber ad with Elton John.
Oh, you need to give me Betty White.
Okay, Zoe, easy point.
Lil Nas X.
There you go.
And there we go.
Xing the Gap.
Zoe and Mary, welcome to Xing the Gap.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Zoe, since you're excited to be here, even more excited than Mary, could you start by telling a little bit about who you are to our audience? I know that you're a recent graduate, right?
Yes. So my name is Zoe Byington. I'm based in the DC area, and I just graduated with my master's in aging and health from Georgetown University. So I am now officially a gerontologist. So I work in the aging and longevity space. And that's how I got connected to Mary. So now I work with Mary, doing some marketing and sales for her. And that's a little bit about me.
Mary, over to you. I know you've got a long bio that includes all sorts of awards and books and appearances on TV. What story do you give when you're stuck in an elevator with someone?
Oh, I say that I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I've been focusing on 2 markets, the digital marketplace and the longevity marketplace, for the greater part of my career. So I've started 3 companies. But I'm thrilled with the orchestra of talent that I have around me that actually makes all the visions happen. And having Zoe as part of our team has been a real uplift to the team. She did a fantastic job at our Washington Innovation Summit.
And are you also from the Washington area, Mary? I know Zoe's from there. Where are you from?
I'm actually bi-coastal. My mother was from Virginia, so I spent a fair amount of time in Washington. But I also am headquartered here in the Bay Area, and I'm still a professor at Santa Clara in Silicon Valley. So most of the wealth creation comes out of Silicon Valley, about 40% for new business developments. And so my students, 20 years of teaching there, a lot of MBAs well-placed all over. Some of them now are venture capitalists. But because of longevity as a focus, you have to have a focus in DC. So AARP has been one of my anchor clients for 20 years, as has Cabby for as long as they've been there.
Right. And Cabby, who are one of the partners on this podcast, the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation, based in Toronto, where I'm from. Now, that's how I came across your work, and I've been interested in age tech and the basically the space that you both work in. Now, Zoe, I know that from your website and the information I read about you, that you're interested in intergenerational environments in particular. That's also the space that I work in through the storytelling angle. So I'm wondering, how important would this intergenerational environment be to you to enhance the lives of an aging population? And did this initiative come from a personal story?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think especially for someone of my younger generation, because I don't think it's on top of our minds all the time. But I had a really great personal experience when I was in elementary school. My family, we lived with my grandparents for 2 years. And it has been like my best childhood memories ever. Just, all of us being together all the time and just brought everyone from different generations together. So kind of through that, I realized the importance of having just a little bit of everyone mixed in together and how valuable that is. It's also a great sharing and learning way. One of my best friends is my grandfather. I see him every single day. And I learn just as much from him as he does from me. So I think that personal experience has made it very important for myself to kind of push that forward. And also looking at the longevity standpoint, my grandfather also has always told me you have to keep moving to stay moving. And I believe we can all do that together. So that's why I kind of like at the health and wellness side of things is also really important for myself. But I really love that question because I always try to push my friends, especially, to kind of encourage them, be like, hey, like, call your grandparents, reach out to one another because it's like an untapped market, in my opinion.
Yeah, we do live in a culture where it does seem that we shut down, whether it's the okay boomer side, but also there's ageism on both sides. And I find it just extremely unproductive sometimes to even talk about generations that way. So I know this podcast is structured along the lines of I'm the Gen X, and I'm in the middle of both sides, but I have aging parents and I have kids who are struggling. All of us are anxious about the future. How do you feel, Mary? First of all, I should ask, where do you situate? Are you a baby boomer? Do you identify with that cohort at all?
I do identify as a baby boomer. I am at the top end of the baby boom. So I'm 74. Next year, the baby boomers will be 77 at the top end. So then you have the whole cohort, getting older. But I look at the business opportunities. So one area I focus right now is on 77 to 87. So my colleague Ken Dykewald says, if you want to catch an elephant, you dig a big hole where they're going. So when I look at the business opportunities of the marketplace and the investment opportunities in the marketplace, I look at things like the chronic health conditions that they're managing, the finance they're managing. And of course, it's not just collaborating with young talent because they have strong digital mobile skills. It's because they have fresh ideas. And they also filter your ideas in terms of which things they think are most important. So Zoe kind of got a baptism by fire when we went to the Longevity Summit because we must have had 20 sessions and lots of speakers. So I'm always interested, out of all those presentations, which ones mattered the most to her.
Values. If you ask people what matters to them, you're bound to get a whole bunch of answers depending on a whole bunch of factors: socioeconomic, geographic, and of course, demographic. Different people of different ages value different things at different times of their lives. I might value creativity and collaboration more than a non-artist who might value privacy and personal achievement. A retired baby boomer might value equitable access to healthcare more than a millennial who might value equitable access to the job or housing markets. All of these things matter. And one of the challenges of 21st century society is how to find common ground in what matters to all of us, our shared values, and then to make sure that the marketplace actually places value on these things.
Zoe, on that end, I know Mary once wrote a book called Turning Silver into Gold, How to Profit in the New Boomer Marketplace. That was in 2007, so, about 15 years ago. Is there a new culture in the marketplace? Are these new generations, Gen Y, Gen Z, do you feel that the workplace has become a very different space right now? And what role do you feel young people have in not shutting off older voices, but actually embracing them?
One thing I've realized being, like I said, coming into this space, the aging space, longevity, being younger myself, is my focus is already on that. My focus is how we can include everyone in total. But that's just me. There's so many other people in my generation who that's not their main focus. So it's kind of trying to figure out now, how can we make it inclusive to everyone? I think honestly, a lot of this is kind of through what you're doing, like creativity space, is that's where you get people connected the most, because we can all be creative in different ways and we can find, enjoyment, let's say like on arts, for example. But I think personally, that's a great way to bring people together in these work environments, is finding those similarities and trying to work off of it, because it's very, very easy to be divided.
Yeah, I certainly encounter that in your world, which, Mary, is about investment and tech. I'm a firm believer in the moving of capital. There's a lot of young people right now who feel that capital sometimes isn't moving in the right places. And I wonder how you respond to that. to a young person basically saying that wealth is evil, or at least billionaires are evil, and that, we need to find a new way?
Most people I meet are like Zoe, that they have the enthusiasm and the commitment to the market. But Zoe's rare because she's so early on in her career to know where she wants to go. So I love working with people like that because you've got several decades ahead of you to build something. And I'm basically a builder. I wake up every day thinking, who can I help build whatever they're building? And then but my colleague, Joe Coughlin at MIT, he talks about, could we build a cathedral? We don't see many unicorns in the longevity space. But if we take the talents that we have and we work together, I think we're still in the early innings of where age tech can be. And it's going to take all the generations to come together to do that.
Yeah, Zoe, if you were to summarize your view about money just as a concept, would you have a way to define it? And I've heard all sorts of things. I've heard money as a weapon, or money as a this. And how would you throw that provocation back at me? What is money to you?
Well, first off, going back real quick, I just kind of want to talk to the collaborative part, just what Mary said, because I just want to kind of highlight too that the way she's kind of shown me just in a short while, just kind of seeing the benefits of money. And this is, I think, again, working with different generations and why I like working with Mary so much, because she's kind of opened up my eyes a little bit. But I do not see money as a weapon. I see money as a gift, because to do anything we want to do in this space, we have to have money to do it. To support people, it has to come from somewhere. So like working with all these different ideas, that's where you kind of get the ball rolling, how you can get funding, how you get money to push things forward. So I do not see money as a weapon. I see it definitely as a tool and a gift, and you have to use it wisely, like anything else.
Gifts. I recently read a book called The Gift: How the Creative Spirit Transforms the World by Lewis Hyde. It examines an alternative economy to the ever-dominant marketplace, one that's governed by gift giving. The idea of a gift goes back to the origins of human civilization, much further than the idea of money in exchange. It allows ideas and creations to flow freely and productively instead of being hoarded as commodities or accumulated wealth. This obviously applies to artistic gifts, which are often shared without much financial gain. But I think it also applies to business, where creativity and capital need to flow freely in order to stimulate innovation. And one space where money and creative gifts can mingle and multiply is entrepreneurship. So you're both connected to the space of entrepreneurship, and there's a certain kind of entrepreneur out there. I'm sure you've encountered this guy, because it's often guys of the type that I'm talking about, but who believe that government, bureaucrats, institutions, they get in the way of actually solving any problems that we need to solve. And what we actually need is complete deregulation, decentralization, fully privatized free market. I know I studied architecture in school. I got 2 degrees in architecture. And I remember reading Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead, which was hugely inspirational and seductive to me. But it was all about the individual versus the collective. And there's a kind of techno-utopianism out there that tries to rid itself of any kind of regulation. How do you feel about that version of the tech entrepreneur space?
Can I go back to your money and storytelling? No entrepreneur can raise money for their idea without a good story. So maybe I could connect the dots around a couple of these themes. So Charlotte Yeh, who's the chief medical officer at AARP, said, you have to have a story and then you have to have the data. So every week we hear lots of pitches of ideas, but the story is the way you frame your idea. What's changed now is almost, as the boomers have gotten older, more generations have stories to tell about their aging parents and how club sandwich they feel. So lots of people are seizing on the opportunity. But what we learned 2 weeks ago at our conference is that the state governments and the area agencies on aging are really important channels for entrepreneurs to get adoption. So innovation isn't just happening on Sand Hill Road in Silicon Valley or at Cabby in Toronto. Innovation is happening throughout everybody got the memo about innovation. And so now it is, how do you decide how you're going to spend your time? Who are you going to work for? How much is that going to yield? And if you're part of a wealth startup where you could become wealthy earlier, then you have more free time to solve for. So I see people valuing their time and their family time, especially after COVID, as much as money. They use money as a tool for time.
So as a tool, I'm just kind of zeroing back on this idea of a certain view of deregulated market as opposed to restrictions. You're saying that policy and government does have a huge role to play. They can enable this or they can stop it. However, the idea is not necessarily to just have entrepreneurs in the world. You need other people in the ecosystem. Is that, am I reading that correctly? Or Zoe, maybe I'll pass it over to you if you have any thoughts on that.
Well, definitely the ecosystem, I think, is the key word. That's what we talked a lot about at the conference as well. And what a lot of our speakers talked about is the whole ecosystem in general, because everyone plays a part. You can't just deregulate and kind of throw out those people out the window. You know, everyone paints a picture to get to the whole vision. I don't know if Mary wants to kind of chime in on that as well, but that's what one of the big takeaways at this conference was.
I started it with a chart that I like to use that talks about who's in the ecosystem. And that is changing so fast. I just talked to Steve Yule from the Consumer Electronics Association, the foundation, and he was telling me about 100,000 people coming to CES and the floor space that governments want. Even the government of Ghana wants floor space at the Computer Electronics Show. So in my book, which I should rewrite next year because it is so old, but one theme was globalization. Another theme was technology and clearly innovation. But the regulatory environment plays a huge role. If CMS changes a code that reimburses for healthy behavior, that could save tons of dollars to the whole country and culture. And so we had a session on the social determinants of health. Those are really an important aspect in looking at all aspects of business, because your healthcare is when you're increasing costs. So anything we can do to dial down diabetes, to look at the things that facilitate healthy living and relationships is an important thing. I mean, I was the founder of SeniorNet and then Third Age before I started my current company. And all I do is try and plot different people in the ecosystem of the longevity market.
Ecosystems. Generally speaking, an ecosystem is a complex network of entities interacting in a physical environment. This can apply to the Amazon rainforest, to Amazon.com, or even entire sectors of our economy. In all cases, ecosystems require diversity in order to be sustainable. And what does diversity mean? From a business point of view, it means a wide range of ethnic, socioeconomic, and cultural backgrounds, and a wide range of skills, experiences, and interests. This valuing of diversity allows an ecosystem to thrive and to navigate change and disruption, which will occur. And in a thriving, healthy ecosystem, there's space for everyone to become leaders.
I thought you were going to lead me into my leadership. Zoe likes my 5 L's of leadership.
I'll lead you right there. If you want to go there, you could take it away.
Okay, so the first L is to listen. So really listen carefully. Sometimes you have to say to someone, tell me that again, so I make sure I hear it the way you're saying it to me. And great insights. That's what you get from listening to young people, great insights. Second thing is learning. So I'm a professor. I'm always learning. I'm always reading. I never have enough time to learn and to think. And I always have a book list. I'm so excited. Yesterday, we interviewed the author of Pearls of Wisdom, a new book about Betty White, who probably your grandfather would like. It's on, she's lived to be almost 100, Betty White. So learning is really important. Leading. Stepping up as a leader. And what people don't know is you can lead from a classroom, you can lead from a venture-backed startup, you can lead from your family room with your podcast and your newsletter and a concierge company. think about who are the people you want to lead and why do you want to lead them there. The next one is lean in. And we learned this from Sheryl Sandberg. What Zoe has done with the longevity market is she's leaned in fast. And she leaned in. And as soon as I met her, I said, sit right next to me at the conference. I will help share with you what I'm seeing, and then you share as well. So we worked really closely together. And after that, we gave her a job. And now we're trying to have her placed in the best jobs that she can find, because you have to take your role as a mentor seriously. And what I see young people like Zoe, they're my reverse mentors. And the last thing, you have to love what you do. If you wake up every day and say, I'm making a difference in someone's life, the older adults that my clients serve, the professionals that I work with, the team, my family, then I love what I'm doing every day. And you never work a day in your life if you love what you do. Those are the 5 L's of leadership.
Zoe, you've heard those before?
I have. And those reasons are why I love Mary and I love working with Mary, because everything she says is so true. And the first L, learn. I'm trying to learn as much as I can from her, because she just has all this great knowledge, that is at the tips of her fingers. So I'm trying to lean in to learn.
Nice. So Mary, you've been a leader in this age tech and longevity space for decades. So you have a unique perspective on how technology has shaped our lives in the last 50 years, for example. And you also published a book I think it was around the turn of the millennium, called Grown Up's Guide to Computing, right? So I'm assuming you know how to operate a computer quite well. Is that correct?
I think you could be challenged on that quite well part, but I know enough to get to produce on a computer and to create. So I see technology as a tool, but we always are learning. So a great business for someone to create is a business that helps us upskill. Whatever we know today, we're going to have to know something more or different in the future.
So Zoe, I've read recently that a lot of young people in the marketplace, in their workspace, I should say, because they're expected to be digitally so literate, you actually don't know everything and everything changes so quickly. Do you ever feel that anxiety of feeling the pressure of older people saying, oh, she's Gen Z, she knows this stuff?
Constantly, actually, because you're right, everything's evolving. So thankfully, I can use Google to help me help other people as well, because the technology is moving as fast as sound. So being on top of it's difficult, but Google is a good friend.
It is. My shows couldn't have been written without Wikipedia or those places where you actually get information that isn't necessarily driven by the profit model. And anyway, I have a quick last question before I get to the game show. Because by the way, there's a game show, Mary, in case you didn't know. So you've grown up with the internet, you use social media as part of your ecology. You know about exponential technologies. You know how AI is being used to help in so many age tech products. And so if you were to be asked right now, technology, promise or peril, and Mary wasn't listening, what does your heart of hearts tell you? Are we headed towards a good space, or are we headed towards a dystopia?
I say promise, because technology stems innovation, and that's just stems a better environment, or it tries to stem a better environment to all of us. But I always tend to try to look at things with optimism instead of pessimism. So I'm going with promise.
Promise. One vote for promise. And Mary, vote to you. Promise or peril?
I would have to vote for promise, because, enabling technologies keep you in the game.
Yeah. And you got to understand how these things work. And to understand them, you need to use them, and you need to use them as tools. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. So I will now use you both in my Machiavellian designs to create conflict, because you've been in such violent agreement with each other this whole conversation. I'm now going to actually have you face each other in a game show. So the way this works, I'm going to show you a bunch of pictures and ask one person in particular if they can identify what it is and answer the question. And if not, I'll give space to the other person. And we don't care about the points. They don't matter at all. It's just for shits and giggles and fun and games. So
dang it, I'm competitive. So I want to beat Mary.
Are you competitive?
It's okay. I love Mary. She can beat me.
Mary, are you competitive?
I wouldn't be here if I wasn't competitive, but I also am humbled by all I don't know. So
that's a very diplomatic answer. You must live near Washington. No, wait, that's Zoe. She lives there. Okay, Mary, we're going to start with you. First, I want you to identify this app.
Oh, I know. I should know that.
You should.
Zoe's going to know this. I'm not going to know.
Okay, over to you, Zoe.
Snapchat.
There you go. Yeah, I thought I was throwing you a softball there, Mary, but maybe.
No,
all good.
I'm not on Snapchat. Yeah.
I have a feeling you're going to fail miserably at these next ones, but that's okay. Let's try them anyway. Who is this? Any idea? No, that was for Mary, but why don't you say? Do you know who this is, Zoe?
That is Jojo Siwa.
You're correct. A famous YouTuber. Okay, Mary, we'll throw some charity at you later. Don't worry. Who is this? Won the Pulitzer Prize for music in 2017 or 18. Amazing artist. I'll give you the first name. Kendrick. Mary? Kendrick?
I don't know.
Zoe, for the steal.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yep. Okay. Interesting artist. Fascinating from a tech point of view and pop culture point of view. Any idea? Mary? He did an Uber ad with Elton John.
Oh, you need to give me Betty White.
Okay, Zoe, easy point.
Lil Nas X.
There you go. Come on, you know who this is. Mary. She creates music with her brother, Billy.
Yes.
Eilish.
Yes. Now, who's this, Mary?
Oh, he was in that movie.
No, it's not. No, it's not Yoda from the original Star Wars. It's someone else. Uh-oh. Okay, Zoe?
Baby Yoda.
Mary, come on. Who is this character?
Oh, no, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, Zoe.
Where's Diane? Oh, no, it's Malfoy, right?
Yeah, Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter. This musical, awesome musical about the history of your country.
Hamilton.
Mary. Hamilton. Ding, ding. Yeah. This logo about a series of dystopian novels that were, I think, aimed at young people, but very influential. The Hunger
Games? The Hunger Games?
I gave you a hint. And I think finally, this TV show from the last couple of years. Nope. Zoe.
Squid Games?
Squid Game. Yep. By the way, Mary, thank you. You're going to get some points here because we're moving on to Zoe. And tell me the name of this doll, Zoe. Mary, do you know who that doll was?
Chatty Cathy.
Chatty Cathy. There you go. Mary gets a point.
Mary's going to beat me.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Duck and cover. Why were the kids under their desks? Zoe.
World War II.
Well, they were afraid of what?
Oh, bombs.
Yeah, nuclear bombs. Okay, I'll give you that. Who's this character?
A puppet.
That's not specific enough. Mary.
Howdy Doody.
Howdy Doody. Who's this guy? Zoe.
It could
he
be
hosted American Bandstand for many, many years, forever.
What is his
Mary?
name?
Oh, you know his name, Mary.
Oh, I can't remember. Oh, he hosted the New Year's Eve party too.
That's right. Oh. With Ryan Seacrest in his older years.
Is it Dick Clark?
Dick Clark. Zoe gets a point.
Right. That's right.
What were these folks dancing, Zoe?
The Jive?
No, Mary. Come on, baby.
The Twist.
The Twist. Bonus points, Mary, for who sings The Twist.
Chubby Checker.
Yes, 2 points there. Zoe, do you know who this famous fashion model is?
I should. But
well, should's a big word. Mary.
Twiggy.
Twiggy, yes. This is what you used to order.
I know.
Mary knows what this is. Go ahead, Mary.
Oh, wait.
Oh, Zoe, go ahead.
Is that at a drive-in?
You got it.
I don't know, order popcorn maybe?
A drive-in intercom, yes. Well done. What are these instruments?
Radios.
What kind of radio? Mary?
Transistor radio.
Yes. What is this?
Oh, it's you look at photographs. It's a projector type 1.
A projector type 1. I'm going to offer Mary a steal here for some specific language.
Slide carousel.
Yes.
Thank you. What are these things?
Oh,
Very famous when you were getting high in the late 60s.
I don't remember the name, Mary.
It's actually written on the edge of the photo in case you can see it.
Lava lamp.
Oh, yes.
Lava lamp, that's right. And I don't suppose you know who sang "These Boots Are Made for Walking." That's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. She was the daughter of a very famous crooner, Mary.
Oh, I can't remember her name, but I do know the song.
Dad was Frank Sinatra. Who's the daughter?
Oh, Nancy Sinatra.
Nancy Sinatra. Zoe gets it with all those hints. Do you know who this famous talk show host is? Zoe? No. Mary?
Mike? Oh, right? No, it's not Mike. It's, Phil. It's named Phil.
Phil.
He married Mary Tyler Moore.
Phil
Donahue. Phil Donahue.
Zoe, who's this guy?
Larry King.
Yes. And what was she on Larry King? What hurricane was she talking about? Celine.
Hurricane Katrina.
2005. Katrina, yes. Who is this Pope?
Mary.
Benedict.
Yes. And who are these people? Zoe.
Princess Diana and now King Charles.
That's right. Well done. You've had a little recent gloss.
No, I know a lot about that.
Okay. Now, who are these two guys and how are they related? A little Canadiana for you.
Trudeau and I don't know the other guy, but they are both...
I bet Mary knows the other guy.
Is that Pierre and Justin Trudeau?
Yeah. So, and Zoe, how are they related?
They're both the prime ministers.
Yeah, one was dad to the other. That's right. He was when Mary was a teenager. This guy was a rock star in Canada. He was going around, and he was the rock star politician of the time. And his son ruled many, many years later. So there you go. That's our game show. You both did so well. Thank you. Zoe and Mary, thanks so much for taking part in this. Hope you had fun.
That was really fun. I think Mary and I make a great team if we were together, we would win like Jeopardy.
Isn't that like the world? If we could all just get a little bit closer together, we could win. There's the theme for the day.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
And thank you, friends, for tuning in. As always, I'd like to thank my two guests, Mary Furlong and Zoe Byington. For more info about Mary and Zoe's work, visit maryfurlong.com or check out Mary's book, Turning Silver into Gold, How to Profit in the New Boomer Marketplace. My name is Rick Miller, and I wrote, recorded, and edited this episode with multimedia by my team at Kidoons. For more about the Boom Trilogy and our many other projects, visit kidoons.com or boomtheshow.com. Thanks also, as always, to my partners on this podcast, Leap, an online community where life experience meets innovation, created by CABI, the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation. For more info or to become a Leap member, visit cabi.com/leap. If you're on a podcast player, please follow us, write a review, tell someone about this or other episodes you liked. You can also send me any questions, comments, or feedback, Rick Miller Actor on Twitter or Instagram, or email rick@rickmiller.ca. And hey, in a polarized world, you have a choice. Build a wall or build a bridge. Build bridges, not walls.
Xing the gap.